All right, I'm going to be working with Atlas and the plastic. So you've seen his first video with the plastic, and then this is going to be just an update video, and then the same thing with desensitizing from above on the fence. So he looks really great. Like, you can tell he's into like doing this work because he was so much faster, like bringing his hindquarters over to the fence, and he's really gotten better with that behavior too. There's just the side passing to the fence. So I've got the plastic unfurled a little bit, so it's not quite as small as it was before. And I'm just kind of just reviewing, like making sure it's okay that it's on him. And you can see his withers twitch, but he does have a fly on him. So, and see how it continues to, and it was like before I put it on there. So that's important to notice that is it you, or is it a bug or something else? But with Atlas, he'd kind of do like a little jump, like he kind of twitches his whole body too when he does it. So that that's kind of his tell, but he's remaining really relaxed, even with it at this bigger size. And then every time I unfurl it, I let him kind of see it. And that looks really nice. Like, he's not moving his neck up. He doesn't look worried at all. Like, his tail is still lightly swishing, so he's not super tense. He's even stepping closer to the fence there. That looks great. I'm just gonna kind of rub it on his flank there and on his hindquarters, and that looks wonderful. So really, no complaints with this at all. This looks really, really good. And the same kind of thing with the surcingle. I just put the tarp, or this is a pool float, so it's just like a piece of plastic, like all over his body. Like, I understand he's not gonna have one on his hindquarters, but you know, he might have a blanket on or a saddle pad, and you know, those things are gonna have to be desensitized. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the surcingle and just leave it up there for a second, take it off. Atlas was pretty good with that. It might be too long of a duration for a different horse, so I would break that down even smaller, little tiny steps. But for him, he was really relaxed and he was fine with it sitting there for a second while I fed him the treat, but you might have to just let it set for a second, click, and then take it off. So this is another way to do it. So depends on your horse and kind of where they're at, especially on a particular day, because Atlas is very relaxed on this day. Like, it's a warm day, it's not windy. If it was a colder, windier day, I might would have had to take it off afterward instead of leaving it on, or at least built that up in my training. So like, if I was going to start this lesson, then I would do that. If I had been practicing this, then I would practice it as normal, and then if he showed me he was worried, I would go back a step. So it just kind of depends. But I'm not going to necessarily go back a step just because it's a windy day, but I'm going to have it in the back of my mind that I might have to. And I'll go back and go through the lesson like I have been training it and just kind of see how he responds without him going over threshold. So if he's super worried, I'm not even going to try that. I would just, you know, start from a smaller place and work from there. So this looks great here on his right side. Again, he's got nice relaxed body language. His neck's pretty relaxed. His tail is swishing gently. He continues to chew while I touch him with the plastic. All of this looks really nice. Go ahead and throw it over his back. And he's not worried about seeing it out of his other eye. That looks great. So now I'm going to work on desensitizing him from above. So I've worked on this a few times before, and I'm just adding in new things each time. So just letting him target me because he gets a little worried. And the head and neck is going to come up. The ears are going to come back. That's kind of just part of it. Because he's trying to see me from above and listen to me. But ideally, I want the head and neck a bit lower than it is right here. I like that he's looking at me. He's letting me pet him there. He kind of stepped toward me, toward the fence. So those are all really good signs. He's continuing to eat his treat. He's not super tense. And like, I just held my hand out on the other side of his back, which you can't see from this angle. And he went around like he was going to target it. So I'm going to click and feed him for that. So I'm going to build up to him targeting my hand and like reaching around on the other side, so he can get ready for me being on his back. But I really want him to see me above first. I am big on desensitizing from the fence, multiple different fences, with the saddle on, with the saddle off, all kinds of stuff, because I really like to set them up for me getting on them. I don't like, oh, let's get on now, and they're just not prepared. So that was really nice. Sideways toward the fence, he's getting really good at that. And he's tolerating me going up too. Like, you can see he's looking and listening, but he's not super, super tense. And he paused there with his chewing, but but it looked pretty good. Like, he's okay with me climbing up and climbing off, because that can be a big thing too that we don't think about, is getting on and getting off. We kind of get focused on just like, oh, are you okay with me being up here? And you kind of forget about the whole process of me climbing up. And there he went, and I did the same thing. I just kind of stuck my hand over his withers, and he went to target that. So that looked really great. There, I think he was just moving to reach the treat. So I just kind of put him back into position and then fed him. But it is really important to make sure that the horse is okay with you climbing up the fence and then jumping down. And I kind of mimic it my riding style, so I like to swing both feet out of the stirrups and then jump off. So that's what I'm going to practice here. Like, I'll do some stepping down and some jumping off the fence. So just be aware that's something you need to practice too. But he was doing excellent today. Really great lesson for him.